It's been about 5 years since Noname last dropped a full album. In 2018, she dropped Room 25. And now we have her latest project, Sundial. Like I said, it's been 5 years, but in that time, she hasn't been fully away from music. She's dropped a few singles here and there, and she also has been running her book club. So very, very busy overall. But this album has been a long time coming. Ever since it was announced, I'm sure many fans were waiting for it. I know I was. I was excited for it and wanted to see what Noname had to bring to the table after all this time. Because, you know, a lot of stuff happened in between Room 25 and now. But what we got with this project was a lot of what we've heard from Noname in the past, I feel. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Overall, I mean, sonically, I really enjoyed the project. It's really jazzy, has a lot of soul samples to it, so pretty much just right up my alley. And the way that it's mixed is very interesting as well. Not necessarily interesting in a bad way. I know that when I said it like that, it sounded bad, but what I meant is that it's mixed in a way that Noname's vocals are kind of pushed forward. So even though there's a lot going on with the production, you are kind of forced to also listen to her, which does make a lot of sense because Noname is one of those rappers that's kind of put into that sort of poetry rap bag. And with this album, you do get that. Like, you have these more kind of mellow, jazzy sort of sounds, and then just Noname rapping on top of them. And the way she's rapping, as well as just, like I said, the way that's mixed, it essentially demands attention. So you're going to be listening to what she has to say. And this is not a thing that I feel is very common on a lot of projects recently. I mean, more recently, a lot of things I've listened to, I feel the vocals are mixed right in line with the production. So you don't necessarily hear what the artist is trying to say until maybe 4 or 5 listens into it. Like, once you get through the vibe part of it. That's not to say that that's a bad thing. That's just something I've noticed. Noname clearly has some things to say, so made sense. With this project, it's pretty short, and I really do appreciate that because we've gotten a bunch of nonsense long albums in recent memory. But this album is 31 minutes long with 11 tracks. Really quick and easy listen. And like I said, there's not a whole lot of stuff on this that we haven't heard Noname talk about in the past. There are a few standouts, and as you can probably tell from the title, this is more of like my first thoughts and reactions to the project. I'm gonna have to listen to it a lot more to really have a deeper opinion on it and really like break down what this album is. But upon the first few listens, really solid. When I first started listening to it, the first 2 tracks really stuck out because I was like, oh wow, this kind of sounds like Kanye production, which makes a little bit of sense because Noname is from Chicago. And, you know, obviously Kanye's influence is immense. That is not to say that she said anything about Kanye on this project, because I don't think she did. But throughout the project, you also get a few other features from people who may also be questionable, such as Jay Electronica. Now, this was supposed to be the single for the project, and it didn't end up getting released as a single. I think it may still be credited as one, but Jay Electronica says some questionable things that should not be repeated, and we're just going to pretend that that verse doesn't exist. I mean, we shouldn't have to pretend that it doesn't exist, but I don't think it was a verse that needed to be on this project. It didn't need we didn't really need a fight for that. But, you know, it is what it is. It also sounds like he recorded it on like a voice recorder from the early 2000s. So, you know, his audio quality is not that great. Anyways, going through the rest of the project though, it flows very well. The songs that really stuck out outside of that Jay Electronica one really start after Balloons. Boom Boom featuring Avoni. I think that's how you pronounce it. I could be pronouncing it wrong. She has a great voice. The featured artist here. Oh, sorry, Aoni. Her intro's great. The song itself, it felt a little weird for something that Noname would do, but still totally fine. I'm not mad at it. but Aoni really stole the show with her vocal performance. Then it goes into potentially the interlude, which kind of addresses like, oh, you only like me for what I can be in the future, like the potential of me, not me right now, not me who I am at this very moment. So I thought that was interesting to note, because it's like, I don't think it's necessarily just with her as an artist, but maybe her as a person as well. So, you always have people who are like, oh, I see the potential in you as an artist. I'm really curious to see where you're going to go in the future. Rather than, telling them how they are right now. But also, when you talk about as relationships go, I guess, like people just kind of romanticize this idea of what you could be to them in the future. Kind of weird shit, to be honest, but it's something that she wanted to bring up. The other song that really stuck out, and honestly, again, all these songs, I have something to say about most of them. Namesake was another one that really stuck out. Namesake being like a play on her name, like her namesake, Noname. She talks about these major artists, major players in the industry, in the rap game, that do things to not necessarily get attention, but like they're well-known people. But Noname she essentially just says she's fine being Noname. She's fine without having a name. She doesn't need to have all that attention brought to her, which I thought was pretty neat. Like, she's content where she is. At least that's what it sounded like she was doing or saying. Toxic was an interesting song as well. Kind of touching on toxic relationships, it sounded like. Definitely one of those songs I need to listen to a little bit more. But actually, what I thought about with this song was, it brings up the idea that a lot of female rap that we have right now has been very, I guess, more party focused, you could say, more poppy. Not as much as a conscious effort, you could say. Like, whereas Noname, I don't know that she would want to be titled a conscious rapper, but definitely leans more into that. And I feel it's not something that we absolutely 100% like, oh no, we definitely need this because it's going to cleanse what hip hop is right now. Like, it's a nice thing to have because, again, we don't need any particular person or group or type of person to do these things, but having a presence in the rap game that is more conscious, whether it be male, female, non-binary, whatever it may be, like it is a nice thing to have. So Noname coming out with this project was good, and having Toxic on it was a good thing too, because it's touching on toxic relationships, which is something that I don't think a lot of people necessarily bring up because it's very popular to be toxic. We don't talk about the negative part of it. Moving on from that though, the other two songs that really stuck out, because those are ones that I was also looking forward to, are Gospel with Silk Money and Billy Woods. That one's great. I've never heard Silk Money before, but his verse was solid. The sample was really good. Silk Money's intro to the verse, where he says something about I always knew Fugees was in the FBI. It was funny and very relevant in the moment. And then Billy Woods just fucking killed it, dude. Billy Woods always does that. And then Oblivion, it's a very good outro track. Like, I think she says like the chorus says something along the lines of, it's like going away or fading away into oblivion. Like, it just feels like a very good ending track. And then she brought Common back out. We haven't heard from Common in a minute. Anyways, I just had some general thoughts on the project, the individual songs. I think this is a really good album, at least up on my first handful of listens. And like I said, it's only 30 minutes, so I was able to listen to it a lot more. And Noname, like I said, kind of commands attention with her vocals being so in the forefront. So I'm going to have more to talk about regarding this project, probably next week. Until then, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this project. Don't say anything about the J Electronica verse, because I know how we all probably feel. Also, like and subscribe so you can see more content and my actual review for this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.